Hello everyone. Bet you didn't expect me. Hi. I'm Lily. I could have a preamble here, but I'm just not gonna say it. I'm here just to read up to 1,000 books from my bunny library game. I'm not gonna talk about more. I don't know how far I'm gonna go. I'm just gonna go until I stop, and there'll be an estimate of how much far I got, probably in the video title or something. So, you'll know, but I don't, because what am I gonna do? Edit a video? Didn't before, not gonna start now. Let us get into it. Adjust myself here. Again, not going to edit unless I like to sneeze. We're going to go by class of books as defined by the Cobb categorization system, the greatest Cobb categorization known to Twelland and the surrounding lands, as established by Twelland's Council of Bibliomancy. And up first, of course, we have the natural sciences. Acceptable assumptions. Acids of various properties. An alchemical distinction. Alchemy through the Eons. Alchemy, 9th edition. All about millipedes. Amagical properties of Lyrae resonance. Analysis of cassiterite deposits on Barren's coast. Analysis of the physical properties of type C raw rindium. Approximating the population of Teldway. Are sea beasts true? A debate. Ashen wings. An Astrobun's Guide to the Cosmos. Bears of Travswad. Behavior of smoke under pressure. Beyond the advice of your bones. The Big Book on Bones. Biology of mythological creatures. Keyrines. Birds of the Band. Birdwatcher's Guide to Twelland. Botanist's Bane and other botanical beasts. Botany through the ages. Breaks in the dance. Bunnies on the moon and other hogwash. Buns and bumblebees. Butterflies of Caprician lakes. The buzz about colonies. Buzzle's thoughts on alchemical pursuits. Catalogue of beasts of yore. Cephalopods of the hill-swept ocean. Charting through the stars. Comets and other sky wanderers. Comets, 3rd edition. The common Caprician hedgehog. Common conversions of silver. Cordardisk, 926. Cryosquids of the hill-swept ocean. Damp, dark, and briny fungi of the Cordwell Isles. The deadened forge. Deepest rocks of deeper secrets. A discovery about Seine. The division of the sciences. Dragons, 2nd edition. Ducks, a primer. Eating feathers, bird swallowing snakes of the Isles. 8 legs, 8 eyes, 8 problems. Elemental distillation. Fading flutters, a story. Fairy rings and other fungi. Fishes and other residents of the sea. Flowers of the Twelland uplands. Forging the theories of motion. Frogs, and salamanders. From dancing to mere gazing, our history with the stars. A fundamental understandability. Fundamentals. Whoosh, all about fire. gardens of yore, glacial canvases, graveyard the sky, ground and stone, a practical guide to elf keeping, the horror behind the stars. How deep is deep? The jewels of Rin, kitties quantified. The Brizzy spotted beetles. The life and history of short-legged animals of Dwelland. Living locomotion. Lizards and other friends. A long-term study on Leonese precipitation. Lost worlds of the Ilwins. The lunar landscape. Limat 4. The many wonderful uses of the potato. Mapping the cosmos. The measure to the stars. Measuring the rings. The metal of woe. Fell iron. Metallic woods. Legend and truth. Mine diamonds. The most brilliant of the planets. The mysterious drifting darkness. Octopi of the Cordwell Isles. On etheric crystallization. Our rainbow of stars. Out there. An overview of the science of motion and rest. The painter's patron. Peering into the elemental universe. Poisons of Dwelland. Practical applications of Laberbaum's third treatise of air alchemy and wind energy, revised 3rd edition. Preferable shape. The principles of matter. The properties of bun. Properties of copper salts. Reflections of their own lichenness. Report of long-term observations of 12 Fel 42.2. The revised thermoalchemical laws. Rivers and skies, and you and I. Searching for the silver Feldwin moth. The seasonal cycles. The secret of Aralium. Seeking. Celthaean hearts. Celtheus unraveled, 921. Shark contrasts. Sightings in the western approach. Silver gold herons. Skyward calculations. The social dynamics and combat capabilities of the walking saplings. The southern centile woodchuck. The specters of study. Splash, all about waves. Star steel, a study. The story in the seasons. Studies on egg-laying lizards. Studying the new leaf. The sun and what it has done for us. Survivors on Virn. Taxonomy of spectral beasts. Thane's mementos. Thogwen, recovered knowledge. To study the wilds. Toads, toads, toads. A tome of sharks. Tracking the lurker of Barren's Coast. Turtles are good. Understanding our fellows. Uses of steam in alchemy. Veins of tree lore. The Voln Skitterers. The Winden Award. What are we looking for? Where did the elephants go? Winged turtles of Vilfidian. The workings of the world. The workings of wood. The world around us. Ilwyn grains. And Zap, all about lightning. Now we move on to books about technology, starting out with 10th century smithing. advanced napping techniques, ailments of tail fluff, an a-magical blast, the ancient Ilwyn adamantine foundries, armies of each shore, band weirding, befriending the children of Southeas, a beginner's guide to fishing in the Twelland uplands, behind the attack at the root, behind the lights, mechanics of the carousel, birdwatcher's guide to fitness, bridges of Cordwell. Can we really trust toads? Carrot cultivation for the modern bunny, castles and other safe houses, cherries in spring, clockwork creation, application, and automation, construction of staircases, contemporary benchmarks of pulped woods, contemporary pitchforks, contemporary waste management, creation and consequence, design of steady canes, draughts of fading, synonym, elixirs of Ilvain, an extensive guide to blacksmithing, 3rd edition, fighting the Ilvain flu, finding a crossbow, the first war mages, from the orchard to the temple, a generalist's guide to fixing things, Gilbert's guide to a good chair, glasses and other singstones, grape and vine, headache cures of the approach, healthy sleep, a history of post-day agriculture in Twelland, hopping, 7th edition, how to correctly store your shrews, illicit application, innovations of the now, isoalchemic distillation, issues of scale, Josephine tanned leathers, lessons from Wellens Falls, mages on the waves, magistrate domestic tax code for the trade of metals, raw and processed, and other geological products of 922 LD, making bits and bobs, a march towards Eldwa, warfare through the ages, marvels of the Adwellans, the Mind Magic Prohibition Act of 802, modern anesthetics, modern midwifery, modern standards of wood pulps. Didn't I also have a contemporary standards of wood pulps? Right, yes, no, that was an explicit thing. Never mind. Ignore me. Modern walls. Mundane marvels. The a-magical locomotive. Natural medicines of Barron's Coast. Notes on modern fastenings. On ferret husbandry. Pain management at home. Patrols of the Cordwell Sea, pairs of veil, proactive mending of splintered bones, relearning the art of healing, restless nights, the royal batteries, screws and nails, 3rd edition, the sewers of Leon, signals and crossings, and Injabun's primer. So a witch has cursed your harvest. Staying cool with thick fur. Studies on the construction of a restored Leon. Tax codes through the years in fairy. Thicker accents than Belliner, cracking the tongue of law. To reach again. Trapping small game in the Twelland uplands. Tummy aches and you. The Twellander's Guide to Velfidian Law. 2x4 uses for 2x4s. Urban Chicken Essentials. Wagon Age Origins. Warm Weather Burrow Digging. Watchtower Design Notes. Weather on the Seas. Alright, that brings us to the third class thing, which brings us into the social sciences. The Accords of Baron. The Accords of Centile, a study. Accounting for the 10th century. The Advent of Passenger Rail. An analysis of modern relations to power. An analysis of the general production of nations. Aptitude and inclination. The Archmage and the Commandant. The Barren Bridge Project. Bunny Kind. The Changing City. Classical strategies for demonic wrestling and angelic fishing. The Coins of Twelend. Crossing Cordwell. Curiosities of the Southern Lands. The Dance of Two Cities. Death and Other Deceptions. Discourse Among the Faithful. The Doe. Echoes of the Raitique. Ego of the City. Elders of Trovspod. Femininity under the Penitent. Fairy Logistics. Field Guide to Madness. Flying Free. Foundations of Leperology. Games for Brains. The Golden Advantage. Golden Horizons. Grave Symbology. Heart and Mind. The House and the State. How Bunnies Behaved. In Search of Flight. Introductions. Karatima, a study. The King's Hands. Lesser Lords, Greater Sway. Lines of Command. A Little Someone Named Adwell. Magisters and Princes. Many Paths of Udin and Far. Measuring Thane. Mending a Modern Mind. Mirrors of Talent. Modern Apprenticeship. National Schools of Bibliomancy of Leon. The Old Josephine. Onuduarian Poker. The Other Battles. The Path of Change. Pedagogy, Volume 2. Pillars of Apprenticeship. Politicians of Velfidian. Prayer and Prose. The Princedoms. The Privilege of House. The Prospects and the Voice. Pulling a Cart. Resilient Harmony. Rule of Lake and Sea. Rulership. The Secular Voice. The Seven Faces. Singing a Dream Anew. Sleep Dancing. The Source of Silver. The Sovereign's Chosen Swords. Standards of Assumption. Thane's Mandate. Those Seated upon the Throne. Threat and Oversight. The Throne of Sail. Timetables, 2nd edition. To Fight the Powerful. To Teach a Little Bun. To Teach a Trade. Traditional Twelander Weddings. Treatise on Wowray Influences on Modern Minds. The Twelland Capricic Network. The Twice-Ruled Nation. The University of Twayon, a Remarkable Turnabout. Udin's Faces. Webs of Understanding. The Westward Calm. What makes a trade a trade? Whispers and Memories. Wizards and Their Villages. Ilwa's Grand Machine, and Ilwa's Great Arena. Now we're moving into bibliomancy and general works, because the bibliomancers who designed the system did give themselves their own whole section of the library categorization system. After all, they're making the system. They're allowed to have a little bit of self-nepotism. Adapting non-magical mathematical processes to computational magics. A primer. Advances in iso-arcane languages. Ages of organization. Algorithms of bibliomancy. Audrey's Encyclopedia of Encyclopedias. Bear with me, a repository of puns. A beginner's Leon Ridwell Dictionary. Being succinct with book titles and why it's important to not make them too long for someone to easily read. Bibliomancy is not mind magic. A brief introduction to Trav Ridwell. The Caprice Schools of Lay Magic. A suitable education? The Charter of the Council of Bibliomancy, 15th edition. The Charter of the Josephine Literary Guild. Clues and Ciphers, a guide to ancient enigmatology. I wrote this, I should know how to say it. Cobb adaptation. The Cobb categorization system. Forward. The Cobb categorization system. Part 1, Natural Sciences. The Cobb categorization system. Part 2, Technology. The Cobb categorization system. Part 3, the Social Sciences. The Cobb categorization system. Part 4, Bibliomancy. The Cobb categorization system. Part 5, Literature. The Cobb categorization system. Part 7, Religion. The Cobb categorization system. Part 7, History. The Cobb categorization system. Part 8, Magical Sciences. The Cobb categorization system. Part 9, The Arts. The Cobb categorization system. Part 10, Philosophy. And finally, Cobb categorization system, the Notes and Commentary. Contemporary Information Organization. Cryptanalysis of mysterious ciphers. The erudite art. Exhibits and their care. The fall of Bwellin's Learned. Flower guilds of Mixel. The Foremost Council. Fundamentals of Bibliomancy, 7th edition. A gift between victors. In pursuit of preservation. The inferior ordering. Information storage magic solutions. An introduction to advanced mathemagic. An introduction to physical to image replication. An introduction to Ridwell. The Isles Astrological Institute Field Guide. Lay uses of bibliomantical principles. The library's guide to collections of not books. A little nook of knowledge. The luxury of paper. Magistrate Standard Spellbook, 6th edition. Making of books and its effect on the body and mind. The Modern Bibliomancer, Urin 923. Nourish, a sound lost to time. Numismancy, a treatise on coin magics, as well as its theoretical, practical applications. The Other Bibliomancers. Public Information and You. Puns, a punderstanding. Replication Margin Adjustment Reference. The Resignation of Mr. Bunton. The Root of All Magic. The Roster of the Baron Commerce Association. Scanning spells and their limitations. shelving priority principles. The silver butterflies sing westward. Speak of the right EQ. Symbology of pre-Ilwyn peoples. To capture a star, the tongues of Ilwy, translating High Leonese. The true battlefield, the unshackled school. Visitor's Guide to the Sovereign's Gallery of Leon, 922 edition. The Words of Ilvain. Evinin Falth. The Adventures of Glyn and Poke. The Adventures of Glyn and Poke. Search for the Hedgehoglets. The Adventures of Glyn and Poke. The Enchanted Glade. The Adventures of Glyn and Poke. The Kingdom of Pawns. The Adventures of Glyn and Poke. The Knight's Vow. The Adventures of Glyn and Poke. The Library of Crows. And finally, The Adventures of Glyn and Poke. Friends Forever. Did I say that we entered literature? We just entered literature with the Adventures of Glyn and Poke. All the King's Ships. Arrogance and Aristocracy. Asequentiality. Bernard's Soliloquies. The Biggest Money That Could. The Breach of Trawl. The Briarmore. Characters, Characterization, and You. A Cloudy Day for Buns. The Crier in the Promenade and Other Humors. Days with Tangle Toes. The Dwarves and the Dragon. Erdwin's Fall. Everlasting Thordum Schlump. The Faceless Ocean Guardian. A Feeling Lost. Fountains of Myth. The Fourth Detective. Hearts in the Stars. The Hero of the Iron Road. The Homunculus of Dr. Franwil. How to Befriend a Goblin. How to Stop Writing Poetry for Others. How to Write a Novel. The Hundred Soldiers of Nor. Icicles and Snow Kisses. The Inspector and Mr. Weir. Inspiration in the Heavens. An Introduction to Josephine Literature. The Jewel of the Silent Hair. Journey Through the Four Heavens. Keeping the Legends Alive. King Jord and the Seven and Other Tales. King Jord, long may he reign. Lake Baldwin. Lament for Twayon. The Last Verse of Bunlore. Letters from Sale. The Leviathan. Literary Meta-Analysis. Lost in Tomorrow's Yesterday. The Maelstrom. Memories of Dawn's Watch. Mary Miriam's Magical Moss. Musings of a Summer's Day. The Mysterious Deaths of Autumn Time. Nayet's Gourd. Orgon and Soctuar. The Outcast. Passion in Chaos. A Passion of Faith. Penitent Blood. Blight Petunia's Pretty Petals. Prose and Propriety. A Reasonable Solution to the Problem of Bwellen's Poor. A Return to Nair. Riddle. River Witches and Other Tales. Roses from Mulehane. Ruins of the Imagination. Running Beyond the Hedges. Relid and Relid and Erwarth. Saratuela, the scoundrel's companion to the Empire, the scorned, the serpent of Eldwa. 7 buns at brunch time, 70 setting suns, the shattered sky, shattering and shattered. Sir Fwynton and the sea, and other tales. A song of harvest, songs of Thais, the sound of rain at night, spectres of ages past, sweet honeysuckle and fireflies, tales from Travswad, trails from Vilnius the shopkeeper, tales of Nor, what little is known, tears of Rin, tears of the sunflowers, 10,000 mornings, the 10th kiss, 3 flowers for Bwellin's falls, thumps and thumping, tidings returned in kind, a time in Mulhane, tips of fortune, to bow before the Queen of Stars, tooth, claw, and many stories more, the transmutation, Trillip, author of fiction or fictional author, Trineal and the 7, 2 moons, 2 hearts, verse and musings, a walk in the primal woods, whispers of the alabaster hawk, the wintertime woods, the woman in the woods, woven pleas, writing in the age of chaos, yearning towards Twayon and Ilwelden. Now we are on to religion. A dwell and their people, a dwell in memories, an age of Kriel. All things must, the destruction of Nair, ancient allies and ancient ways, attendants of the skies, Bellinor, man or myth, beyond a dwell, the Book of Bellinor, the Book of Finality. Could you creak more, chair? The Book of Glory, the Book of Grief, the Book of Home, the Book of When, the Book of Nair, the Book of Passion, bows over blood, the penitent of all, caring for you from all around, comfort of night, creed and verse, the cult of Eldwa, the cycles, Dar Ina, demonic summonings, destiny, dethroning of leaves. Did she know? Divine accountability, divinity and morality, divinity of the state, divinity, the story of mortal kind, the elevation of Feldwa, end of bunnykind, the end of bunnykind even, the sunset doctrine, a eulogy for when, faith despite the senses, fantasticalism, a primer, the first book of a dwell, folly, the god who shattered glaciers, Bellinor, gods and buns, green dreams, guide to the perplexing, guiding you to find your place, Gweleth's prophecy, helping you say goodbye, hiding the divine words, hymns of all, hymns of creation, hymns of Nair, if not for divinity, for yourself, immortality, in the R's of the gods, in their absence, the king under the leaves, Kriel the dreamer, the lesser voices, a love on every world, the exploits of Adwell. The mantle. Modern Nairean worship. Mother, bring me comfort. The nameless priests. The next in the procession. The now. Oblivion. The old voices. Original wisdom. Part of you every step of the way. Patchwork of faith. Penitent life. Picking you up to a new day. Picturing divinity. Precepts of eldership. Preparing for never. Preserving the sacred texts. The Queen of Stars. The Reclusive Queen. Renewal. The rites of the children of Nair. Sacred volcanology. Saints among the penitent. The scriptures of Eldwa. The scriptures of Feldwa. The scriptures of Kalain. The scriptures of Kriel. The scriptures of Nayet. The scriptures of Saltheus. The scriptures of Teldway. The scriptures of Udwa. The scriptures of Udwar. The scriptures of Ilwa. The sealing of the sky. The second book of Adwell. Cedris. The seekers of sunset. Songs of stories past. Songs of the traveled. The star of Kriel. Starless skies. The staves of Urin. Strange beginnings. Tales of Darina. The 10 and the 1. Udwa, thy words heal me. Udwin virtue. Unified Ilwyn faith. A unified Ilwyn faith. The world church of Ilwa. Udin be with me. Udin's church. Udin's song among us. Watching you and cheering you on. Will they return? Wings of the faithful, the words of the penitent, and worship in the twilight. Now we're on to history. Actually, I'm planning on doing a big revamp of how the system is organized. One thing, okay, just a little secret, like dev diary in here. Like what I've been working on recently has been this like new book database system. I mean, I'm doing a bunch of other stuff too. I'm like refactoring and like changing the engine that the game is in because Unity is unpredictable at this point. And actually I wanted before all that went down, I just wanted to move into an open source platform anyway, and I'm really enjoying Godot. But also just doing some other refactoring stuff while I'm out there because I have the opportunity because I'm going to refactor the whole thing. But I mean, it still uses C#, so I can still get to use a lot of my code. I don't have to redo a lot of it, although I might end up redoing it, but I'll do it better this time. And I enjoy this. Like, this is meant to be like a long-term project. I'm like not trying to do this to like do something specific. It's just a broad. It is an art piece that I'm working on, and it will take as long as it needs to get done. And I don't mind redoing stuff if it's going to be done right. But aside done now, we're back to history and reading books. Yeah. History. After the end. Apocalypse. Barn owls of history. Beyond the hill-swept ocean. The Book of 5 Trials. Trails. Trials and trails are very different. A buck sky to lay on. Bunny time. I've been having so much fun just like since the shift to like making the setting about bunnies and stuff like that, where it's like now I could just make bunny puns everywhere. It's fantastic. Like you don't see them too much like in the list of these, but for naming the authors, like a lot of them are just like random bunny puns in their names, and it's so much fun and it is delightful. And bunnies are so cute. I love them. The Caprician tax reforms of 812. That's some bunny tax reform for you. Yeah. A Caprician vacation. The Capricid situation. The Centennial of Liberation. The City of Gods, Saradwa Eva. Cordwell under the time of snow. The coup of 903. The court of the king under the leaves. Crossing the band. Descent into madness. division and chaos, duelist's guide to dwell in, the elder last day, understanding the Bellinar age, an eon of gods, the every bun, fables of other stars, fairy for the single doe, the fate of western peace, the first conquest, the first Sentinel Vale wars, the folly of Professor Fickleswip, foothold in Vale, a free Josephine, the furthest from home, geological impact of the band and other Ilwyn ruins. Sorry, geographical. Geological would be up in Illinois. Sciences in natural sciences, not in history. I mean, like, come on, no one would make that mistake. The glacial sailors, glimpses of a noble heritage, grievances of the Archmage of Leon. I actually have this thing fully written. I've been like wanting to do a reading of it, like at some point on the channel. Like I want to do more videos and stuff, but like I don't know, I haven't been in the mood. I haven't had this set up, and I was like, it was completely on a whim that I'm doing this too. I was just like, ooh, what if I make a video? Like I just had 1,000 books, I could just read a bunch of names. That's pretty good, decent ASMR. I'm not gonna make it into like a dev jar or something, but like, I mean, now I am just like sneaking into the mill because I don't have impulse control. But you can't stop me. Like you've been here for 42 minutes already. Like that's on you at this point. Grottos uncovered, heralds of Marishold, the highs and the lows, the history of rainfall, in the shadow of Nair, contextualizing myth, the king of pink roses, the king of the coastline, Leon ablaze, Leon and Dwellind, Leon ascendant, Leon reborn, Leon's first territories, the legend of Saint Belisoph. But just in case you didn't hear enough about Leon, next one, A Life in Leon. It's almost like Leon is like the capital of where the city takes, this game takes place. It's actually where the game starts. I don't know. Looking back and looking back, a history of history. The mighty dark sun, the profane and solar demiurge and his many fell deeds. The terrified and most terrifying king. Mother Mountains. My child, Dwellin's Thither. Nor, 9th edition. On Tweldway's shoulders, restored and revised. The penitent wars. The provinces of Ilwa's grace. The reincorporation of Baron. Remapping the world. Restoration of the Isles. The rise and fall of the penitent of all. The rise of Ilvain. Sail, a guide. The scourged warrior of the West. Set sail for Trenton. Severing the head. Shapes of Nor. The sky ships of the Ilwins. The solitary witness. The songs and history of the realm of Vixel. Southern winds. Sovereign in exile. The stage was set. The starless smiths. Strategy of the Ilwyn League. Support from the north. 10 years of song. Tenuous unity. Theas, Ilwa's grace, Ilwai. Names of home. The throes of Rin. A throne too large. The tragedy of the Voln Flats. A traveler's guide to inns, pubs, and taverns. The Treaty of Compresid. Dwellin's ascendant throne. Dwellin's home frontier. The Dwellinder's guide to Amon's fall. 12 of Criel. Vale after the penitent. Vale's sunder throne. Vilfidian and Pandel. Visiting Dwellin's villages. Visual history of Ilwai. The war for Josephine. Warm breeze and calm seas. a warrior for all times. The Wayfinder's Guide to the Voln Flats. The Year of Hunger's Hunger. Ilwa a Dwell. Book 1, Beginnings. Ilwa a Dwell. Book 2, Ascension. Ilwa a Dwell. Book 3, Unification. Ilwa a Dwell. Book 4, Empire. And Ilwa a Dwell. Book 5, Departure. The Ilwyn Nemesis. The Ilwyn province of Cordweldwyn. The Ilwyn Renaissance. And finally, the Ilvain Dance. Accursed trinket. Oh, sorry. We are now moving into magical sciences. Accursed trinkets of today. Alchemical wards. An analysis of pre-day jade silver. Why did I start doing this in the first place of like being like, yes, I'm going to be, I don't know, somewhat presented and not break character at any point. But I don't know. I like it when ASMR is more casual than that. Like, I don't need it to be super... Share. Come on. I don't actually know how much it picks up or what that sounds like. And you can bet me that I'm not watching this whole video. It's like 50 minutes long and it's my voice. I don't want to listen to my voice more than I have to. I am not cut out to make videos, but I have, what was I doing? Oh, right, I was reading books. I'm gonna be completely love you. I am not entirely here right now. And then, no, I did this one. Anoxa, or Noxe. Dialects in spacecraft? Spellcraft. Well, I mean, spacecraft in the Omen Empire in this setting was spellcraft. Like, it's because it was all like techno-magical stuff where it's like, you know, essentially it's, in early spacecrafts was essentially you got a bunch of wizards in a box and it's being like, well, I hope you don't ever disrupt your rotating shift, otherwise you're all gonna die because you gotta maintain the various like wards and stuff to like not die in space, but have fun. But eventually they found better ways to like automate this process of like, you don't need a full wizard, you can just like you can get these WoW Ray mines where essentially is you take a crystal or something and you make the crystal exactly what it is. Like, essentially you program the crystal, pre-programming it, but like based on how you mailed it, like based on what you want the function of this crystal to be, and then you leave it somewhere where no one is. Early on, the only place they could do this was like the way out there in the middle of nowhere on the planet, and hope a ghost arrives at it. The best place to do that is if you just leave it at like a drop spot in like deep space. That's the best place because the ghosts are like pushing against the world and things like that. And like, if it's like on a planet where there's like bunnies and stuff, like they're gonna be like, hey, look at me, like there's lots of things here and there's interesting things for these ghosts to be doing. But these ghosts are pushing here and they're like, hey, there's nothing here. But it's like, ooh, look at this nice crystal. That you would love to go in this crystal, wouldn't you? That sounds great. Then endless void of nothingness. So they go in the crystal and oh look, all of a sudden you have a crystal that has this computer function that you want to automate spells, so you can build spacecraft and do other things or have a microwave or something like that. Don't worry, the wizards assure us that this is ethical. Don't worry about the fact that those are ghosts, those are consciousnesses, but if they would fit in that vessel, like, they would have to be like a completely different thing. Like, it was like, we're attracting a ghost that already fits the shape of this vessel. So, like, you know, we're fulfilling their purpose by turning them into a microwave. It's fine. Don't think about it. But don't worry, the modern bunnies and library Niddle don't actually have to deal with that. That is just like background lore that probably doesn't even show up in the game, but I have thought about it too much because I have terminal world building disease. I can't stop myself. Like, even if I actually try to stop, I will just start just thinking about things offhand, and it's a problem. And I was supposed to be talking about books, but I got distracted. I better get through this because I still have a lot more books to go through. And I kind of do want to be able to be like, ew, it's a, I don't know, for the snappy title, like, I don't care about views, but, like, it's a lot snappier to being like, 1,000 fictional library books or something like that, instead of being like, I don't know, like, 600-ish fictional library books. Like, it's not the same packed as, like, 1,000. People are like, I'm gonna do it, like, $9.99. Maybe. I'll figure it out. I might just lie, because I might have just missed a few at some point, so it might not even be 1,000, but it's close enough. But that can be our little secret. Whoever's here 50 minutes into this video already. I should not just be like scratching my nose on camera. Like, why am I doing this? I am on camera, and I am not gonna edit this. Like, get a hold of yourself, Lily. Hi, I'm Lily. An approximation of fire, arcane enforcement, basic shields and wards, the Penrith Tome. Better lucky than having inverted the course of your fate to a ruinous conclusion. A brief discourse on the transmutational properties and ethics of small reptiles to large terror birds. Bringing the lie ray to the foundry, the magic of the future. Bubbling wards and ancient swords. Building a better cantrip. Building a metal rabbit. Building arcane bridges. Common threads. Contemporary Wizardry, issue 34, summer 923. Cryo reagents made easy. The curious case of pyre stones. The dangers of recursive elements in Wowray affected magics. Dowsing for shallow graves. Dueling in the stars. Dwelling on fate. Epsilon arrays. Evolution of ethics and magic. Fickle measurements. Final calls. The final line. Fitting the pieces together. Ghost inspectors. Truth and lies. Walrus's Armory. Hive Veneton, Book 1. Hive Veneton, Book 2. Hive Veneton, Book 3. Hive Veneton, Book 4. Hive Venetum, Book 5. Hive Veneton, Book 6. No, Lily, you do not need to go into a history of the Hive Venetum. It's not that complex. I can do it pretty quick. The Hive Venetum was essentially the official spell book of the Ilman Empire. The Imperial had the Imperial's Council of Mages, but essentially was like his magical advisors that would like attend the Emperor, Imperial, whoever was there. The first 5 were written under Adwell. Adwell was god of civilization. Okay, there was this bureaucrat who was just like a little bunny being like, hey, I'm a little bunny. Their name was Adwell, and the god of civilization was like, hey, how would you like to, you really exemplify my ideals. How would you like to make a space empire with me? And Adwell was like, I guess I don't have a choice because you're like God. And you're like, that's right. So they like merge, and he manifested through Adwell, and then they like united the planet and made a space empire. But he's surrounded by 5 mages. Wow, I said this is going to be short. Not 5. Like the Council's, the Imperial's Council of Mages was all there, and they released this 5-book set, which was essentially here is like the standard magic of things. Part of the thing that Ilwa did to help unify everyone is being like, hi, I have special god knowledge, and I need you to build a space empire really fast. I'm gonna go write down a bunch of how to be really good at magic, and those were compiled into the Hive Venetum. Now, nowadays, the Hive Venetum isn't actually that useful, in that, like, the Hive Venetum doesn't actually useful because in the last day happened when the Illuminati Empire collapsed and something fundamental about the magic changed. Like, all the spells no longer work, but it was a very well put together piece that like modern with mages and stuff looked to the Hive Venetum as like this template for like how you organize a good spell book. If you're like having a thing on just like physical magics, you you do it like the high Vivinium. Like that has kind of become the standard for different various reasons. There was a sixth book of the high Vivinium that was added several hundred years after the first five, which was essentially like their applications of like essentially like, hey, we've been working with this for a few hundred years. Like here are the standard applications for a lot more complex like infusion stuff, or that's where else like the weird ghost soul battery things that you need a computer to run a microwave. Those standards were in book 6, which was like this kind of supplemental thing. This was a controversial decision to this day. Like, they're, go get bibliomasters who are like, they should have never added this sixth book. Like, 5 is already the number of the divine. Why'd they add a sixth one? And it gets heated and things like that. But, I mean, the 6 books, the High Vivinium, not useful as spell books, but culturally significant. And that tangent took way longer than I thought. I'm gonna take me forever to get through this. No more tangents, Lily. Ice variants and you. Let's roll the dice. Lyrae dynamicism. Lyrae dynamicism. I can speak, I promise. Mage in a cage. Magic and you. Magic in the art of healing. The magic of machines. The magics of fairies and the magic of fairies and the other worlds. Making magic, the Lyrae. Did you guess that this is the magic section? Mirages, glamours, and other illusions. The modern enchanted sword. A modern war mage's arsenal. Necromancy, fact, and fantasy. Necromantic efficiency. Notes and musings of I think I typoed there because I can't actually read that, or it's one that someone gave to me and it might be Russian and I don't know how to pronounce it. I will look up a pronunciation guide later. Otherwise, I might have made a typo when transcribing some things. That is also possible, but I'm not sure. Offensive proactive abjuration. Unsustainable necromancies. A peasant's guide to the Lyrae. A peasant's guide to the Wowrae. Post-life encounters. Peering beyond Eldwa. Practical evocation for work and defense. Principles and ethical consequence of the use of mind magics in law enforcement and legal proceedings. A primer. Psychedelics and alchemy. Rebuilding the Eternal Compendium. Research and development of pre-Edwellan magics. Sharkmancy, a primer. Sherbert's Grimoire for the budding wizard. Simple spells for around the burrow. Simple spells for the young mage. Sorcery, destiny, and rocks. Sparking dusts and their safe creation. The spellbook of Rebecca Schwartz. Spells in the oven, incantations on the stove. Spirits of the upland countryside. Sustaining broths. Synchromancy for conductors. Synergistic efficiency. Thermodynamic applications of salamanders. Turning up the heat, a pyromantic field guide. Understanding. Ursine enchantment, magical compulsion of bears and other large mammals. What you fear and what you face. Wind and rocks. Wintry wards. Wizardry and the law. Now we're on to arts, the second to last section. 101 recipes for the apprentice on a budget. 50 practical moves for self-defense and home care. 55 uses of bread crust. 7 ways to cut a fish. Apologies and other social arts. Apples and tarts, a story. Arcane inspirations and dance through the ages. Arcano fermentation. The art of bed making. Attentiveness and attractiveness. Bad beat stories. Illwise worst music. The bartender's reference book for hoity-toity drinks. Beyond taste and texture. A bibliomantical textbook. Blanket craft. Blue Street, Blue Door. Bonnet trimming for the dough on the go. Bounding buns of the prairie planet. Bows and ribbon, the giver's guide. Brew smiths of Josephine. The bun maid and the chandler. Burrow cleaning for the unkempt rabbit. Button, clasp, hook, and loop. Cheese, a Leonese dream. Clothing of the high ages. Clothing of the occupation. Cozy arrangements for sleepy spaces. A critique of method acting. The dance of Ilwa and Far. Dances of Twayon and Mixel. Daring do-ups for the discerning doe. A day in Dennis. Decorating for autumn. The definitive guide to friendship. Designing tasteful bookends. Discerning ballads. Ear styling for lops. Eating under broken wren. Efficient shelving for the busy-brained bun. An erosion of the arts. The essentiality of making bad art. Eugene's 7th. Every painting a painting. 918 Vue. I don't know why I made French for some reason. It's wow. No, that's not how you say it in. I think I just made a conlang word that just is not pronounceable because I didn't say it out. I think how you would pronounce it would be like you're saying view, but it sounds weirdly French. I might need to change that. The evolution of the written note. Far in glass. A fall to disgrace, bringing back late 8th century fashion. Feasting and revelry, a host's guidebook. Festival planning for the busy bun. Filigree of Velfidian. Foods of Deardwin. For the favor of a doe. From ashes. From the last day to the last week, the history of post-Ilwyn music. Fundamentals of tuba. Goblets of rainfall. Grooming closet and manners. A guide to lobster life, lobsters, and pickled donuts. Guide to practical dress care. The hair of Montebello Road. Heading beyond the players. A heightened experience. A History of Painting, Part 1, Pre-Dwellin. A History of Painting, Part 2, Dwellin. A History of Painting, Part 3, Apocalypticism. A History of Painting, Part 4, Renewalism. A History of Painting, Part 5, Early Reminiscentism. A History of Painting, Part 6, Theist Naturalism. A History of Painting, Part 7, Ilwyn Romanticism. A History of Painting, Part 8, Modern Reminiscentism. A History of Soup. Interior decoration of modest dwellings. An introductory course to pastries. It's Raining in Sail. Jewelry crafting of the Princedoms 3. Madness given verse and breath. The Mage's Cocktail. Magical garments, sewing with invisible and igniting fabrics. The Man from Maldman. McGregor's Grimoire of Medicinal Gastronomy. Mirrored movements. The muffled songs of Ilwa. a musical foundation. Not lost, the Fae are borrowing it. Organization for the disorganized. Painting the ashen skies. Papa Gamboozleton's legendary cookbook. Party games for the modern social bun. Political action. Pottery before the day. A practical guide to fur care. Principles of interior lighting. The proverbial piece of cake. Pieless clam is dead. The quintessential upland supper. Romantic browns. Routines for luxurious tail poofiness. Rudimentary wood carving. Sandwich, soup, or sauce. Shell patterns of Vale. The silver shores of Riddlelock. Songs of Vale. Spellbow grease. Magical solutions for magical stains. Spells for the arcane dabbling artist. The stage and live at. A star-flung vintage. Stepping stones of weaving. Stylish ways for the Ilban on the budget. A system of entertainment lighting. The tables of Centile. Titus Bundronicus. Today's theater. Tools of carpentry. The Twellender tastes of the sea. The unspeakable play. Upland tartans. Vale's Guide to Art. Issue 26. What makes a stage? What your magic says about you. Where the crimson ravens roost. The whisker woes of Samantha Wynne. Ilwyn manners and how to use them. A young bun's voice. A young doe's guide to cross-stitch. And your first stitch. And finally, we have made it to philosophy. Yes, I put mathematics under philosophy, not natural sciences. Arguably, I could probably also put it in bibliomancy potentially too, because they also have knowledge, general foundational knowledge stuff, things like that they have to be able to do. But I thought philosophy was funny, and also I needed to pad out philosophy a little bit. Yeah. Additional resources. Adherence. Analysis of change. Applications of unreal values. Applied Mathematics, 9th edition. The Archipelago. Argument and Reason. Arguments concerning the last day. B follows A. Beyond the simple digits. By divine example. Chance and other fictions. Contemporary applications of statistics in the natural sciences, 4th edition. The data never lies. Death and the realms beyond. Definitions, 2nd edition. Delusions of wonder. Divine artifice. The divine everything. Echoes. The Aristar Sets. An exploration of irrationality. 501 properties of triangles. For your story. Foundations deeper than reality. From absolutism to zero, a reference for the philosopher. The fundamental circles. Glory of the sky. The good we find in others. Greater and greatest. The greatest good, an study of Ilwyn consequentialism. Introduction to algebra. Introduction to knot theory. It stands to reason. Jay's Book of Mathematics. Layers of being. Limitations of mathematics. Limits of the limitless. Making people happy. A matter of thought. Measurement and understanding. Modern ethics. The mother world. Numbers. What do they mean? The oh so elegant story. Pain, the stubborn muse. Partial exploration of ideas. The path of Nayet. Peculiar properties of numbers. Principles of mathematical theory. Professor Grimm's Guide to Numbers. Professor Grimm's Guide to Numbers, now with letters. Professor Grimm's Guide to Numbers, now with angles. Professor Grimm's Guide to Numbers, now with shapes. Professor Grimm's Guide to Numbers, now with headaches. And finally, Professor Grimm's Guide to Numbers, now with dates. Properties. Rationality. Recursivism and parallelism. 6.28. The bunnies are enlightened, and they actually use tau as their circle constant, not pi, because they are correct. Stained paws. Temptations of fur. Theory of theories. Time and realities. To each their own story. Topological assessments. 9th edition. Trigonometry for war mages. Truth, and deception. The universal you. The warped lens. Where algebra does not suffice. The wonderful world of calculus. 11th edition. And finally, a world of worlds wrapped around a silver-strung needle of divine providence. Despite having witty things to say throughout the middle of that, I am now finding myself not knowing how to do this exit. I hope this was nice. I've been really enjoying working on this game, especially like writing books. Like, it's part of my journaling. I, write 5 more book titles. There are a lot of them, like, I have tried something where, like, a lot of them up to a point where it's going to be, like, every book is going to have a description. And I decided actually to change that slightly, where I'm going to have, essentially, common books just have a title and an author and, like, their index. But then, the uncommon tier of books will have, like, they have a description that you can read and things like that. And then there's, like, the top tier, which are, like, the shiny, the premium versions, which is, like, shinies for books and things like that. But those aren't significantly different. And there's also books you can just fully read, but those are just going to be uncommon books anyway. So, because I don't want, like, the fully readable books they put time in to be, like, ultra rare or something. But I've been really enjoying making these, and I think about making videos a lot, but I don't always know what I want to do, and I don't really know what I want to do with this channel. I don't know. It's hard, because, like, a lot of the things that, like, I used to make stuff about, I feel it's very distant from, like, I don't really play Magic anymore. Like, I talked about it a little bit when I tried to get back into things, like, last year, where it's like, I'm just feeling kind of distant from things, like, I was really talking about, started this channel about, beyond, like, ASMR. I mean, I still love ASMR. ASMR's great. But no, I want to do something more, but I figured it's like, I had the urge, and I was like, I'm going to capitalize on this urge, and I'm going to do it. So close, I had to make one cut in this entire video. Like, well, okay, I probably should make more, but, like, only one major one. I was like, oh no, I made too big of a sound, and I'm gonna, like, do the whole thing where I clap, 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 and write down, like, when I need to make the cut, but so close to just having one clean thing the whole time, and I would really got to do no editing, but that didn't come together. I should end this video probably, but I hope you all have been well. I've been the best I can, and things are hard for me physically with hurting and disability and stuff, but I am well taken care of here, and even though I'm not making as much videos as Sam, I'm still creating. It's just I'm creating different things and I'm focusing on that. And I don't know, I made this channel when I was like, I just needed a creative outlet because there was a bunch of things and I was feeling kind of isolated from people, and I was like, it was a way to connect and like do things. But it's like, since then, like, actually have most of the things that I started the channel to do is like been actually kind of fulfilled with other facets of things I've been doing. So it's like not so much that I didn't want to like work on this made stuff for the channel. It's just it is a lot of it. It's a high barrier to do stuff, or on the base level things that I am all like beneficial things I'm getting from other sources in terms of like creative fulfillment and like connection to a wider community now with stuff, because I'm doing a lot better in some of those areas than I was like in 2017 when I started the channel. Goodness, that was 7 years. This summer will have been like 7 years since I started this channel. That's wild. Time is weird. Time isn't real. 2016 wasn't 8 years ago. That's not true. That's a lie. Um, but yeah, all I had to say. Hope you all are well. And at the very latest, at least until next year, may your story smile upon you.